Hello everyone and welcome to another library haul. First of all, if you are new here, I post a book review almost every day, so if book reviews interest you, you're looking for some reading inspiration or book reviews on a wide variety of books, then stick around. Let's dive into today's haul. So here are all the books that I'm going to be showing off from today's little adventure to the library. A couple things about me and this haul. So the way that I go to the library is I might have a couple books on hold, usually series that I'm reading, particularly manga series. I'll place holds for new volumes in the series and have them shipped into my library. I'm part of an area where I can order books from any other library in my state and have it shipped to my library, which is a super cool advantage. So I usually have some holds, but the rest of the books, I just wander around the library and pull things off the shelf and see what seems interesting to me that day. So I usually don't have a plan when I go in, so what comes home with me is just whatever I come across that day. Also not showing off is a couple books that I got. I usually don't show books that I get that I'm checking out for like personal development, professional development. I have some guides that I want to take hiking with me about amphibians and reptiles and wildflowers. These are books I'm not going to be reviewing because they're more like books I'm getting for information for like personal projects I'm working on and not necessarily things that I think you would be interested in hearing about. So this is not all the books that I got from the library, but these are the books that I will be reading and reviewing. So if any of these seem interesting, stay tuned. Also, if you ever have any suggestions at any point, please leave it in the comments below. You'll see in my haul today that one of my other viewer suggestions was included, so I always listen to your suggestions and I like to try them out because I think other people have great reading suggestions as well, and I can't know of every good book out there, so I want to know what I should be reading. Let's talk what we have. First up are my holds. We'll do the ones that I knew I was getting when I came to the library today. First of all, we have volumes 7, 8, and 9 from the series No Matter How I Look at It, It's You Guys' Fault I'm Not Popular. This is a manga series that I'm reading. I've actually read it twice. This is my second read through, and these are the next ones in the series, 7, 8, and 9, so I left off on volume 6. I had these on hold from another library, and they came in. Also, in the manga genre, I have volume 22 of Komi Can't Communicate. And I'm excited to read this. I ordered this in from another library, again, because my library didn't have this volume yet. So I knew I was getting this today at the library. And if you're interested in following my Komi Can't Communicate reading journey, stay tuned for volume 22. And the final hold I got is one that was a viewer recommendation, and that is Surreal Numbers, a mathematical novelette by D.E. Is that Knuth? I do not know how to say this. I cannot show the cover because I ordered this from another library, and this library pasted all my personal information on a piece of paper on the front cover, which sometimes they do, sometimes they leave it as an insert in the book. I can't really control how they do that, and I'm not allowed to remove that piece of paper, so it is what it is. This is what the inside it looks like though, and this was a recommendation, a viewer recommendation, so we're gonna see how I like that one. So those were the ones that I went to the library knowing I was going to get. Now let's talk about the ones that I wandered around and found. The first one was Peter Wohlleben, The Hidden Life of Trees, international bestselling author of The Hidden Life of Trees. And this book is The Weather Detective, Rediscovering Nature's Secret Signs. So I actually only got this out due to the author's name, which I feel like for me, I am more likely to recognize fiction author names, even though I probably read maybe a 50-50 split, or actually I probably lean a little bit more into nonfiction. For whatever reason, fiction authors tend to stick with me more, maybe because when I find a fiction author I like, I tend to read a lot of what they've written. Nonfiction, I tend to go more towards topics and less towards authors. But I did read a book last year by Peter Wohlleben called Forest Walking, and it was really, really good. I do have the review on my channel. You could just tell that the author has a real passion for forests, for the work that he does. I believe he's a forester in Germany. So he just talks about the forest and his interaction with the forest. I liked, at least that's what Forest Walking was about. This appears to be about weather, but I really liked his last book, and I liked it so much that I'm willing to check this book out just based on the author name. So we're gonna see how I feel about Peter Wohlleben and The Weather Detective. I'm sure it will be interesting. I did notice that some of the books I got leaned more into nature this time when I was at the library, and I wonder if that's because we're moving into summer. So in the summer, I like to do a lot more outdoor activities, and I do tend to read a little bit less. I love hiking, I love biking, I love running, I like exploring different parks, I like taking road trips. I just like being outdoors in the summer. I live in a place that gets pretty cold in the winter. So for about half the year, I am inside. There's very little light during the day. Like the sun will be going down at like 4:50 in the afternoon during parts of the winter. So there will be times where there will not be sunlight when I'm outside of my normal working hours. So in the winter, I tend to do a little bit more on the reading. In the summer, I like to take advantage of the warm weather and get outside and enjoy the sunlight and all the other opportunities that we have. The converse is if you live in an area that's very dark for a lot of the day during the winter, in the summer, it's light during a lot of the day. So as a result, I get a lot of long sunny days in the summer that I want to take advantage of, and I like being outside. So I think a lot of my books this time focused on nature just because I like being outside more in the summer. It's just almost a natural reaction to the environment that I live in. Next up is The Secret Life of Fungi, Discoveries from a Hidden World by Alia Whitley. I'm just interested in learning about these mushrooms, fungi. I always see them in the woods and I can never really identify them. And that was something I really noticed last year, actually, after listening or reading to Forest Walking by Peter Wohlleben, was how little I could identify in the woods and how much you could see if you just walked a little slower on your hike. If you didn't rush through your hike, be like, I want to do 10 miles today, and then just march your way through the forest, which sometimes I'm guilty of doing. I'm like, I want to do this trail today. I'm going to march my way through the forest at top speed. Yes, we knocked out 7 miles. And that's fine. That's a way of doing things. But I think Peter Wohlleben makes the argument that when you go slow, you really can't hike too slow. If you go really slow, you can notice all the details. So after reading his book, I took some really slow intentional walks and I noticed there were a lot of mushrooms, fungi, molds, just little things that I wasn't seeing when I was doing that marching through the woods at top speed trying to get a bunch of miles in sort of stuff. So it made me more interested in learning about mushrooms and fungi. So I saw this book and decided to check it out. That being said, that interest was kind of spurred last year, but then it was cold all winter, and of course all the mushrooms and fungi and everything were buried under feet of snow, so I wasn't really looking at them, so it's kind of been laying dormant, and now it's coming out again, doing a lot more hiking. So The Secret Life of Fungi, we're going to see what this is about. This is also a little shorter. Next up is Slime, How Algae Created Us, Plague Us, and Just Might Save Us by Ruth Kassinger. This also kind of falls into the same category as of The Secret Life of Fungi. Just kind of seems similar, plus I liked the cover and the title. Just kind of seems like a pop science sort of thing. Maybe seems a little heavier than this one, but I'm interested in how, in where this goes. I'm trying to see right now how new this was. Looks like its copyright is 2019. Yeah, these two kind of felt a little similar. I found them in a similar place at the library, so I'm interested in reading these. The next two are kind of ones that are outside my normal reading comfort zone, but I did, after looking at them, I did gravitate towards them. I don't try to like restrict myself by saying I never read X, I never read Y, because I want to leave myself open to the possibility of reading something that I may or may not enjoy. I also want to, not cut myself off from reading something. And it's okay if I check something out of the library and I read it and I don't like it, then I just return it. That's the beauty of the library. My taxes pay for the library, and I have to pay the taxes whether or not I want to or not. And I'm sure I think they also get federal funding and stuff. So when I check books out of the library, I'm just utilizing this public service, and no more of my money has to go out. So I feel a lot more free to check out and try books that I don't know if I'm going to like. Where if I had to buy all my books, I think I would be a lot more strict with myself about really checking out books that I thought I would enjoy. I feel like when I use the library, I have a lot more freedom in what I'm reading because I'm giving myself that freedom, because my money isn't on the line in the same way. Yes, my taxes, I'm sure, go towards the library. In fact, I'm pretty sure my taxes go towards the library, but those taxes are coming out either way. So when I go to the library, my money's not on the line. I'm not putting money down and saying, I'm betting $24 or however much this book costs that I'm going to like reading The Secret Life of Fungi. Instead, I can try it, and if I don't like it, no harm, no foul, basically. I just return it and let someone else enjoy it. So this one is one that's way out of my comfort zone, and that is The Forever Witness, How DNA and Genealogy Solved a Cold Case Double Murder by Edward Humes, who is a winner of the Pulitzer Prize, which is, I guess, prestigious. So this is way outside my comfort zone because I really don't do true crime at all. And this seemed a little true crimey, but I'll get into why this one actually interests me enough to pull it off the shelf and take it home with me. So true crime, not my cup of tea. For one, it scares me. I read it and I think it's all good because it's light outside, and then the sun goes down, and then I hear a weird noise outside because a raccoon's knocking around in a trash can, and all of a sudden I'm too scared to get up and use the bathroom all night for 7 hours. I have not been desensitized to, it's like I missed this key childhood event where everyone else became desensitized to spooky stuff, and I never became desensitized. And so now here I am just scared of everything, even things that are statistically highly unlikely. Not everything, but like true crime scares me. Second of all, I really don't like that sometimes I feel like true crime is like sensationalized, and it's made to be like, oh, this is an interesting little mystery for us to solve, or like, what happened? Let's know all the details. And we lose sight that someone died during this. I say died because normally true crime could be like financial embezzlement too, but most of the time it's a murder. And the problem is, like, someone died. This isn't just for your entertainment. Someone died. Someone lost their life. Someone lost their wife. Someone lost their husband. Someone lost their sister. Someone lost their best friend, and their lives are forever affected. So I do not like it when it becomes this sensationalized little fun activity for me to, like, I don't want to ever go into it like that. This one, however, did draw my attention because it involves a topic that I've had conversations with before and I have some personal opinions on, but I wanted to hear the author's opinion and get some more information, and that is the role of DNA and the way DNA plays with solving crimes. And I think there's one sentence at the bottom of this inside flap which really clarifies why this is interesting to me, and that is, can we use DNA to catch murderers among us, yet still protect our last shred of privacy in the digital age, the right to the very blueprint of who we are? And I'm guessing this is going to be about people who do those DNA testing, maybe like a fun family activity, but they never seem to be very fun because you can go online and find all these stories about how someone did a DNA, like 23andMe, for like their girlfriend's Christmas present and found out that their dad's not their real dad. So there's a lot of interesting stuff that come out of those DNA testing kits for sure. But sometimes people will submit them and they will match to something like a cold case. And it might not be the person who's doing it, because I feel like if you committed a crime in the 1980s and left some DNA behind, you're probably not dumb enough to do a DNA test. But maybe some cousin you've never met does it, or maybe some distant relative does. And researchers are able to say, hey, that matches closely a DNA we have from an unsolved case. We're going to look at the DNA, we're going to see who submitted it, we're going to do some forensic genealogy, and we're going to figure out did this person have a relative in this area who may have known this person who may have committed this crime? I am guessing that's what this book is about, and that topic is really interesting to me. What are the ethical boundaries of that? I feel like that's something we have to come up with as a society. So that's why this is interesting to me, and I think they're just going to use this cold case that was solved as a vehicle to tell this story, because it's helpful to have an example of when this was used. So I hope this is done like respectfully and well done, and I hope it is, and I'm really interested in more of the DNA and forensic genealogy, and I hope it's also not too scary for me. So we're gonna see how I feel about this, but that's why I got this one. Definitely outside my comfort zone. If it's not my cup of tea, again, no harm, no foul. I just return it to the library, and someone else can enjoy Edward Hume's wonderful book. The final one I got is one that I, again, wasn't looking for. That is Blighted, the story of people, politics, and an American housing miracle. I feel like this one might be a little more controversial. If I do read a book that I feel like might be controversial or people might have strong opinions on, I try not to review it because I don't want to be like divisive, I guess, or I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I'm not qualified to speak on some of the topics that I read books about, so I don't want to post a review on it. Although I will post reviews on stuff, I'm definitely not qualified to talk about like art. I have many opinions on that. But this one is by Margaret Stagmeyer. I don't know if I said that. As far as I understand, it's like some failing housing community. I don't know if it's specifically low-income housing or just an apartment community that the community came together to work to revitalize and make a pleasant place to live. That is interesting. I think the politics behind it could probably get a little controversial, but I'm definitely willing to give it a try. I'm interested in just seeing this thing that I feel like is not controversial, and that's people living in an area saying, hey, we want this area we live in to be better, and then working together to make the area they live in better. I feel like that in and of itself isn't too controversial, which is why I'm willing to give this. I read the controversial books, I don't do reviews on them, so I think this one is going to be safe enough for me to do a review on, where I'm going to feel comfortable and confident that it's not going to be a super divisive book. And I'm just really interested in seeing the progress this community makes towards making the place they live better. So that does it. Those are the books that I have. I do read a little less in the summer, so I'm trying to not go overboard and get too many books and overcommit my reading schedule. If you have anything you think I should be reading, that you think I should read this summer, that I should get a hold on, that I should get started, getting sent to my library to read. I love viewer suggestions. I do try to get to them all. If there's a way I can get it shipped to my library, I do it. Sometimes it takes a while. I think this math book, the surreal numbers book, someone recommended, I feel like a couple weeks ago. So it takes a while for these books to get here, but I do try to read them all. I do try to get them in my reading system or in my reading queue so I can read them. Love to hear your comments. Let me know if any of these sound interesting to me or if you have any suggestions. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.